14 citizens are killed and 31 others injured in two terrorist blasts with explosive belts in al-Marjeh square in Damascus. Lavrov holds the Syrian opposition responsible for the delay of the Geneva International Conference on Syria. Erdogan forces a storm into Taksim square and assault protesters. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. Terrorism targets once again al-Marjeh square in Damascus, leaving 14 citizens dead and more than 30 injured. The two terrorist suicidal blasts took place with explosive belts near a police center in an area that abounded with activity and traffic, causing material damage to nearby buildings and shops. In a view of its economic and commercial role, al-Marjeh neighborhood has been the target of the terrorist al-Qaeda strikes several times. A booby-trapped car blew up there a month ago, claiming the lives of 15 citizens and injuring more than 200 others. In Homs, our armed forces continue to pursue terrorist groups in various areas of the city and its suburbs, inflicting on them heavy losses. The army eliminated all the members of a terrorist gang and destroyed their weapons and criminal tools in al-Khalidiyya neighborhood. It also destroyed a terrorist gathering, killing and wounding a large number of armed men in Maslabiyat Beit al-Ashtar in al-Rastan, including Ibrahim al-Salehi, Ala Ayyub and Abdullah al-Ween, as well as in their in al-Rastan suburbs and Aqrab and Tel Dahab in al-Hula. A bulldozer was also damaged, which was used by terrorist groups in digging a tunnel east of Tel Bisa. A large number of terrorists were moreover killed in Ad-Dar al-Kabira, north of the governorate, including Mahmoud Hilal. The army also killed and wounded the members of a terrorist gang, including its leader, nicknamed Abu Omar, in Al-Husn village in Tel Kalakh suburb. The army, meanwhile, continues to remove barriers and debris left by terrorists in Al-Mas'oudiyya, Al-Salihiyya and Al-Dab'a in Al-Qasr suburb, preliminary to the return of the inhabitants who had been forced to leave their homes to escape from the terrorist gangs. Also in Homs, the army captured terrorists and confiscated a machine gun-equipped vehicle and B-7 missile while chasing an armed terrorist gang in At-Tiba on Homs Damascus Road. The army also targeted terrorists in Al-Qarabis and Babhoud neighborhoods in the city, killing and wounding a number of them and destroying their criminal tools. The army moreover eliminated terrorists and injured and captured others in Wadi Sayah. It also destroyed anti-aircraft machine guns and killed a number of terrorists near the water tanks in Al-Rastan al-Fuqani in the city's suburbs. Our armed forces destroyed a terrorist gathering in Al-Aliana in the city's suburbs as army engineering units dismantled 5 explosive devices, each weighing 35 kilograms, that were planted by terrorists on Homs As-Saba Biyar road. The authorities meanwhile stormed into a terrorist hideout in a farm in Palmyra's suburbs and seized some archaeological pieces that date back to the Roman and Byzantine eras. In Latakia countryside, the Syrian Arab army has eliminated a terrorist gathering from al-Nusra front in the district of Al-Rabi'a, destroying different kinds of weapons, including heavy machine guns, and killing a number of terrorists, including their leader known as Khalil al-Nabashi. Welcome back. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has helped the Syrian opposition responsible for delaying the convention of the Geneva International Conference on Syria. During his visit to Argentina, Lavrov said in an interview with the American CBS TV that American officials admit that the Syrian coalition is not only unprepared for negotiations, but is also incapable of deciding its representatives. Lavrov added that Russia supplies Syria with defensive weapons according to signed agreements between the two sides, and that international law does not prohibit publicly supplying a sovereign state with weapons. The Russian Foreign Ministry has condemned the ugly crime perpetrated by the armed terrorist gangs in killing a 15-year-old boy in Aleppo in front of his parents after accusing him of atheism. In a statement, the ministry expressed extreme concern and resentment over this crime, which was videotaped by the terrorists as a death sentence for religious reasons. The statement said such ugly provocative acts would only ignite the situation, which is already far from being simple in Syria and the region as a whole. The ministry called for the need to abide by human rights and the principles of international law. It affirmed that those who support and sympathize with the armed men should use their influence to stop the series of crimes committed by the armed gangs, including the kidnapping, torturing and killing of civilians. The Russian Foreign Ministry stressed that such crimes are impossible to justify, pointing out that this new tragedy affirms the earnest need to speed up a political settlement to the crisis in Syria. Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi has expressed hope that the world community would help restore stability to Syria. During his meeting with the new Australian ambassador to Tehran, Salehi said, "What is happening in Syria and the critical circumstances the region is passing through is due to the terrorist operations and extremism that threaten the area." Spokesman for the Iranian Foreign Ministry Abbas Araqchi said that the success of the International Conference on Syria depends on its being comprehensive, emphasizing that the invitation of Iran to attend this conference would be a positive step. As for the Iranian presidential elections, Araqchi stressed that the election atmosphere is very enthusiastic, pointing out that the Iranian Foreign Ministry is totally ready to hold the elections abroad at the Iranian embassies and consulates around the world. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said that the government will not support a specific candidate over the other in the presidential elections next Friday. Ahmadinejad asserted that he will cast his ballot in the elections since he has the right, as the rest of citizens, to elect one candidate only. The two candidates, Ghulam Ali Haddad Adel and Muhammad Rida Arif, have announced their withdrawal from the presidential race. 4 candidates remain competing for the post, while about 15 million eligible voters are expected to cast ballots. The Islamic scholars of the Levant Federation has asserted that the fatwas of al-Qaradawi and the Saudi Wahhabi Mufti, which instigate bloodshed and deny the belief of certain groups of Muslims, have nothing whatever to do with the principles of our great religion. These fatwas are hostile to the text and principles of the Quran and Prophet Muhammad's sayings. They only serve the enemies of Islam because they were issued against backgrounds related to foreign plots whose evil goals, features and dimensions are very clear and well known. Finally, in Turkey, the protests which have been held in the past 12 days ago have taken a dire turn as Erdogan's police, supported by tanks, stormed into Istanbul's Taksim Square today morning. Hundreds of Turkish police broke into the square using tear gas bombs, and backed by tanks and water cannons, they removed barricades which were erected in some main streets around the square. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website at EnglishSyriaOnline.sy. Now to latest business at market news with Nariman Qassam after a short break.